A few days ago, I have released a video about the judging, criticism and misconceptions of the Gunpla Builders World Cup in response to 2017. It has been very well received, though it's incredibly long, mostly to fill out as much evidence and point of view as possible as not to look petty, salty and sensationalise the whole thing, which is the point between opinion and fact. The Gunpla Builders World Cup is very important to me. My goal is to win, further promote my content online, as well as to have fun, make friends, socialise and be involved in the hobby. Due to the experience that I've gone through, I do have major complaints, and that is pretty much my bias and stake in the whole argument. This video will be a summary of that 2-hour long video, though if more information or padding is required, you will be required to watch the said longer video, and as well as answering the question that this video is titled as. Going straight into the whole complexity, Gunpla Builders World Cup pretty much has three interest groups, being Bandai, the trophy hunters as competitors, and personality as competitors. You also have others that are new, having fun and exploring different aspects of the hobby. Regarding personalities, Gunpla has a currency of attention, views, interactions on platforms. The more attention, the more resources you have to gain as a reviewer, tutorial maker, artist and whatnot in profits, sponsorship and the exciting release of dopamine in the brain. It gives you the same high from winning, gambling, heroin, other risky actions. It feels quite good and could lead to wanting of more, all the way to obsession as well as compulsive disorders. Important point to realise is top personalities grow far faster the more popular or the higher numbers and points of contact that they have. An audience does rally behind it and loves to back the winner, and sometimes that can grow up into a cultive behaviour. You'll see this with most toxic fandoms, where they lock into other opinions and fight on. They get attracted to most views, wins, titles, resources collected, all that sort of stuff. And regardless of experience, personalities' word when spoken or publicised is generally taken as fact and spread around among a much larger audience. The more something is stated, the more people believe it is quite true, even after you start Googling it and following it into sources that may be misleading. Trophy hunters, normally also commission modelers who spend a fair amount of time to master their craft and gather resources and skills to achieve titles, win positions and get prestige through these competitions such as the IPMS, Gunpla Builders World Cup, Gold Demon and all of that. This gives them the added advantage of charging more to a closer fair pay or compensation for hours when commission modelling. Modelers who build for commission normally get very little pay compared to low income or unskilled labour. So with a few titles under the belt or the attention of a personality, they're generally not really deemed worth anything skill-wise, which is the unfortunate truth. Not all trophy hunters commission. Some of them also build a platform as a personality. Effort is put into different competitions according to the sort of prestige and attention that does grant them, as well as the rewards reaped. Gunpla Builders World Cup is very prestigious. The winner does go overseas and you get a fair amount of attention. So the sort of work that's entered in those competitions can take absolute months to a whole year in design, execution and finish. Rewards also include prestige of the title, TV appearances, model on posters and whatnot, being a recognisable name, invited to fairly exclusive circles of modelers, trips, gifts, money, sponsorship, and further it goes. The third interest in this relationship is Bandai, the host. Now, personalities do all the work for them for reasonably absolutely nothing. So they have no interest in supporting or furthering their goals, as they have their own reward platform. The rules are built to harvest skilled trophy hunters and find the very best out of all of them as the poster child in promoting the face of the hobby, the products, Bandai, brand recognition, as well as the anime and other toy lines. Gunpla Builders World Cup is a business interest and investment. It has a goal. The goal does need to go into brand recognition, as well as eventually producing a profit, which results need to be seen to shareholders, profiteers, all that sort of thing. A lot of people also do not realize that Bandai does have a target audience where they have the most units sold, shipped, and money spread across that area, which is normally involved older children, teens, young adults in Asia, such as Japan, China, Southeast Asia, male, though they are heavily targeting younger children who will carry on in the hobby for a lot longer than adults who are bowing out, and they have a lot of interest in women at the moment. A lot of us in the English-speaking world are not of much interest to them whatsoever. Other marketing advantages and research that Bandai can harvest from these events is a chance to engage and meet more serious members of their customer and clientele base, as well as the chance to survey them and expose them to new products, ideas, and the larger catalogue of the business. So to round it up, you spend money to make a product, to interact with the clients, find a poster child for the hobby, as well as excite everyone to enter the hobby, build more models, and the illusion is given that anyone can potentially win. So what went wrong? To get an advantage in the competition, modelers were made to win outside the ideas of what Bandai set as a promotional piece or a spotlight piece. So rules were set in place to potentially prevent certain models from winning through technicalities. These rules were piled onto each other as band-aids on top of a very simplistic and basic rule skeleton. This overly complicated things. It was translated into many different countries, and these new sets of rules were not forwarded to certain leagues in time by the time that judging came to place at the date of the event. Old set of rules still exist, and there's rumours and whatnot floating around that the competition is very simplistic and people only look at the criteria. The criteria is also an issue in itself, as it's built up in three parts of build paint idea. 33% for each margin that what they do not like they deduct from. Realistically, if you are very, very skilled, got an idea, and can produce a fantastic show-stopping model, you've only got 66% chance of winning. That 33% chance is never outlined by the judges of what they're exactly looking for, and not really listed or sanctioned, unlike any other competition that normally outlines what they're exactly after, even if it is purely from promoting their brand, which most people would be very happy to do from the personality side of things. The judges are very hostile and harsh regarding their rules. What they do not like, they will instantly disqualify and not consider a model for judging, nor even look at it, even though it is still allowed up on display, as it does make the competition look a lot more fuller, competitive, and fun. Down to the rules and lack of study and understanding, plus 33% of criteria that's completely unknown to most people in outer circles, plus loss of points due to small flaws or imperfections in your model, is left to very little chance and almost a gamble of who can potentially place among a lot of very close and very skillfully made kits in various of styles. For the individual or trophy hunter that is spending a substantial amount of time, resources, and whatnot investing in their competition to further their agenda or having fun, realistically with this formula, it does not seem to be a very level playing field and fair competition. Other points to consider that were heavily criticised are the judges are unskilled and should be removed. The majority of the judges, especially at the top of the competition, are professionals from many tiers of the community, from magazine manufacturers, imports, and product marketing. The regional judges are normally selected through the competition hosts and importers that would be considered the leaders of the community who are not entering. Other complaints range from the rules are perfectly fine, it's purely the judges, and IPMS should not be an inspiration due to a fair playing level field, where in truth, due to the requirements of the IPMS to list out and itemise each of their rules, their categories, their sections, and whatnot, if you were to modify it for Gunpla and remove the reference section or put it more in line with the source material or anime, it is far more superior and fair than the current IPMS. The current Gunpla Builders World Cup. A popular vote to replace the judges by getting all the peers to vote for a winner. This would utterly not work, as the populous modelers with platforms and audience would deploy them to take the advantage. This just breaks the competition absolutely. Protesting said rules, criteria, or judging through boycotting does not work, as your voice becomes invalid as someone who's not involved in the activity anymore. Other people who are voicing their complaints in mass while being uninformed about how the Gunpla Builders World Cup competitions and whatnot work, by criticising the ability of the judges or why a popular model is not winning, is very confusing to Bandai, who already has issues with communicating and listening to the base here and other elements of the competition. It's probably best to be more versed in what's going on and mechanics of the competition to leave sufficient criticism to see if change would occur. I assume Bandai would be very happy to tweak these if they knew where to start and what we were all collectively thinking. By shouting and complaining in mass that for the judges to resign, or we hate the judges, we hate the winning model, we hate the style, Bandai will completely shut off from us. Remembering that our particular audience is not the target audience for Bandai to advertise Gunpla to, as well as the events, it is already a huge disadvantage, assuming or not assuming that other countries and the Asian world suffers the same issues as we're having at the moment regarding rule structure and communication. In final conclusion, Bandai cannot communicate well at all with its base competitors, facilitators of the event competition, as well as the wholesalers of each region. The rules are confusing and need to be rewritten from scratch, outlining what their goals are as well as what is required in their competition, and the criteria needs to be laid out in what they're looking at in depicting their source form from the anime or whatever onto the model. That would be ideal for their promotional arm. People do not mind if they're promoting Gunpla through the competition and building models, but they should be known through the official source. The Gundam community in all this is doing a lot of harm for the fairness layout as well as feedback of the competition. There's a lot of misinformation, and Bandai just does not have what it requires and the tools to even be aware there's a problem to even go about to fix it if they desire or not through their overall end goal in the business model. And the final point, why did the Gunpla Builders World Cup champion first and second place did not win the popular vote? The community thinks that this is a popularity competition. Their points and opinions are absolutely valid, and does not have any idea behind the complexity, mechanics, rules, and judging process of the competition, as well as the process, detail, time, and resources take to build one of these upper tier and competition winning models. Bandai is failing to communicate, fails to distribute the rules efficiently, as well as the criteria and what they're looking for as representation of their source material. These winning models have met all the criteria if the modeler knew about it by design or not, as well as filled the criteria of being structurally and painted, finished, storytelling wise absolutely sound. And from these criteria they've reached the very pinnacle and the top of the competition, deserving their title by how the standards were judged. This is not, however, in the ideal and fitting image of what the popularity vote of a good model is, and thus where we have a debate standing right now. Most people who are voting in have opinions from the computer, may have never entered a competition before, or lack the experience to analyze, see and depict a well-built competition model, opposed to something that has a wow factor and excites them from their personal tastes of the show and their modeling style. If you wish to have more information regarding the rules, the process, experience, as well as my full breakdown regarding this controversy about the Gunpla Builders World Cup, the description section below has links to all videos made on that topic. There's absolutely hours of content, and if you are someone who enters the competition, some of these sources may be of help in having a better understanding when you're entering and designing a model for the competition. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see you later.